Then we get to in the zodiac, we have the masculine, feminine signs. The fire and the air are the masculine: Aries, Gemini, Leo, Libra, Sag, and Aquarius. So when the moon is in the masculine sign, the feelings will be projected, not reflected. So these people are meant to push their feelings. Here, have a cake. Here, I did this. Here, do this. I'm feeling this. Hey, look what they're going to project your feelings or your needs. They're not going to sit back and reflect on, I got to get this. You got to give me this. No, I'm doing this. Here, what? Like, it's going to project those feelings in a freedom way, in a belonging way, in a relationship or an independent way. But still, the fire and air signs won't reflect. They won't be so good at taking in feelings from others. They're more attuned to putting their feelings out and showing other people how to feel. That can be totally diluted, or it can be very insightful. The moon is not a measurable factor. It's a puzzle. It's a mystic thing. It's like a fog. It's like the clouds. It's like the weather. You can say it's a nice sunny day here, but somewhere else it's totally storming, or it's still the same weather. It's all part of it. We're going to have all the spectrum of experience, but the masculine signs project their feelings. Noticeable. Aries, do Aries project their feeling? They go on impulse. They're projecting their feelings. Do Geminis, they project their feelings? It's an air sign. They're talking all the time. They're pushing their ideas out. They're not listening. They're not taking in. And Leos are showing you everything and showing how they live and how they're doing what they're not really sitting back and listening or watching or reflecting on how you're doing anything. They're reflecting on how they're doing it and how good they were, not how pathetic you might be or how good you might be. They might sense that if it's interfering, and there might be a competitive side. I'm projecting this, and they're saying they're better, or they're fighting me. What's wrong with them? There's certain instincts. So if you live with someone a Leo moon, you can't walk in and say, "Hey, babe, where's supper?" or "What's happening?" You have to, "Hi, I'm home. How are you? It's good to see you." You got to give a little bit performance to make that person feel up. With a Gemini, you just got to come up with ideas and be interesting. With Aries, you just got to be physical and blatant and do things. And notice you, let's start doing things. Let's get out of here. It's boring. Go. The hell with the dishes. We'll take a letter. Let's go. So the impulse thing. So those are the summertime, the individual. The Libra, you charm, you smile at a Libra. You show a little appreciation. They're going to talk all night. They're going to be talking. They feel comfortably. So the need to be sharing your feelings and expressing them in the moon and Libra is very important. When people are around, that Libra moon is going to talk and project its ideas more than it would listen. Although because it's tied into it, it will listen somewhat, far more than the Gemini moon. The Sag moon wants to live and do as many things as possible. Want to be part of this team, want to be part of that team, want to be part of this group, but each one's taking time. And how much time do you have to maintain it all? And how can you juggle it? And that juggling is the moon, but it's that moon in Aries and in Sag still going to want to do a lot of things. And it's going to want to project them, not be passive, just stay at home, not do something. When it gets passive, then put on weight. When it's not, you're burning it off and you're living in a way with the adventure. Same with Aquarius moon. It knows it intellectualizes its feelings, that's the air, but the masculine is going to project those ideas. When you get to the feminine signs, if the moon's in one of the feminine signs, it's reflective. It broods a little bit more. It measures, it holds the feelings. It takes impressions in, but doesn't always show them out. You hurt my feelings. They can feel that, but they wouldn't always say that. So the Taurus moon is measuring what's good or not. I like this, I don't like this, I'm not sure it's just so good or not. So they have really subjective inner feelings about what they like or don't like or what they need, but they're not so quick to show them. When something good is there, they'll take it. They'll eat the sweets, they'll eat the things, but they might not eat for polite. If there's something there and somebody made it and everybody's having some of it, whether they like it or not, just to reinforce the cook. The Taurus wouldn't do it if it wasn't something they liked. So you can't even make it, as soon as I say this, saying, oh, there's a ways around it, it's not exactly defining it, just touching different attitudes that come in. And they're noticeable. The people will show you this attitude. You have a kid, you see the sign, you'll watch it, you'll see them do it. Kids are the best guinea pigs, but you got your parents too, and you're your parents' kids. So the people that you live with closest are the ones that you need to know. You'll know their moons. You'll see it. You'll see each of these categories has to be active. Someone might have a psychological breakdown or some problem, and you look at the moon sign, you can't see it. But it could be locked. Like 5 of the categories of the moon sign may be working fine, but there might be one factor, one layer that there's a block on, that their security is tied up to, and that's their whole complex is tied up to that one layer. Wow, imagine that. So the moon in Taurus, it reflects, it's measured. This is good, this isn't good. Do I like this, do I not like it? It's reflecting, not just projecting. Cancer, I feel secure. Am I feeling secure? Am I feeling threatened? It's measuring, it's reflecting, it's judging. The moon in Virgo is reflecting, am I good enough? Am I improving? It's still, these are still the daylight greater, but it's still reflecting on, am I good enough? Am I this? Is this comfortable? Is this healthy? The moon in Scorpio is measuring, I feel, okay, how could you give me this bad feelings? Those old memories, these things come up, what feels good, what feels right, what's wrong. There's a battle, but it's a reflective judgment. To make a judgment, you already have to be reflective, you're sensitive, and oh, I got hurt, so that's the problem, we'll make a judgment. So the moon, reflective moon, takes in and absorbs the feelings. And when they're bad or someone's not fair, the Scorpion moon won't forget it. They'll be very competitive about it, but they could be very private and not want to show their feelings because there's so many idiots out there who'll take advantage of it. Okay, I guess the Capricorn, that's a reflective one. It's measuring feelings. It's the most, well, we'll get to some of the, but on this level, it's reflecting and defensive about its feelings. I'm not going to show my feelings. I'm going to be defensive around it. Okay, I'm going to be controlled around it. So the Capricorn moon is the moon that's most likely to be covered up and not, like even the winter signs are probably more inclined to keep their personal world private and their breasts, their things more private than the summer signs who are meant to show and tell. Moon in Taurus, moon in Cancer, moon in Virgo, they might be a little more flimsy, a little more showy of what they have and a little less socially sensitive. But the moon in Scorpio and Capricorn and Pisces, they can do that, but they're much more aware of what other people are thinking and feeling. So this measurement, this reflective quality, it's hard to get these signs to reflect, to project their feelings. They're taking in. They're not so quick to project out. So if someone's autistic and they got a projective moon, they're inclined to be putting energy out, not knowing the boundaries and hurting people and not knowing they're hurting people. If someone's reflective, then they're pulling into themselves beyond what they need to pull in sometimes, and other people disturb them and pull out extreme reactions. They're not necessarily integrated. But everyone has that. You can't say everyone's in it. You have to observe. It's observing where the moon is, how they're living now, what their memories are, what they've been through, and how they feel secure about it. If you come to a war zone and you watch people get killed in your hands and stuff, boy, you've lost some innocence, and it's not, your sense of security is going to be very, very different from someone that's never had a harsh word spoken around them. So, okay, this is just projection reflection, but it's simple category. You pick up the freedom and responsibility of being independent or belonging, being free or responsible, and then you project it or you reflect on it. That's the masculine feminine. This is observable. Okay, so here, these slides are out of order. We talked about the seasons, each season. I just put the three, so each season has its 3 signs, angular, cardinal, fixed, mutable. We'll come to that. But this was just grouping the seasons, which we've just already done, so I'll have to. But even just in the colors of the 3 seasons, you get a different attitude or a different feeling. These colors are coloring the attitudes that affect the planet. It starts Capricorn, the winter, summer, spring, summer, fall and winter. You dress differently, you live differently, spring and summer than fall and winter. People are different from that. Now, when you're going into the season, so in each season, there's 3 signs, the cardinal, the fixed, and mutable, 1, 2, 3 effect. The cardinal is pushy and driving. The fixed is stubborn and resists change. And the mutable adapts to everything and doesn't want to be fixed, just why they're trying to find every way to do things. Well, these are 3 different habit patterns. Your habits and your patterns will be very different whether it's cardinal, fixed, or mutable. So the cardinal signs, These are the pushy signs. These are the driving signs. These are trying to establish themselves or make things happen. So when your moon's in a cardinal sign, you're going to be pushing and driving for security. This is security. I got to get this. So if it's in Aries, you're going to push that. I got to go for this. This is going to miss me. I'm living this way. I'm doing this. I'm going to challenge this. I'm going to do that. That can be good for sports. It can be very ambitious. It can set things up, but it's assertive, aggressive, impatient. That cardinal, but it's driving. Don't get in my way. Cancer can be driving for the home. I need to have a home. But they're driving for it. It's a powerful force in their life. It's not a passive factor. So if you hurt the feelings of someone who's got a reflected moon in Cancer, you're not going to get a passive response. They're taking it in, but you're going to have a powerful action of getting away from you and getting to a place that's secure, because they have the impression that that's not secure. The Aries is more projective. It's not going to wait for that security, that they're going to be pushing their feelings, whether they fit in or not, whether they look like a klutz or not, doesn't matter. They're going to push it. The Libra, so there's 4 different styles, and these moon signs will not get along too easily with each other because each one is pushing in their own way. An impulsive Aries can hurt the feelings of the security-oriented, pushing their feelings Cancer, and both of those can be so independent they hurt the social sensitivities of the Libra who's trying to make everyone get along and share and belong. But Libra, how could indecisive Libras be pushy? Well, if you have your moon there, you have a need to relate. If someone talks to you, you're going to feel, this is going to be a relationship. You're going to instantly feel, we're in a relationship, we're there, we're sharing things. And you could instantly feel you're sharing things, but someone with a moon in Aries could be in there and not be sharing things at all, but they're there with you and you're still interpreting that way, and there's going to be stress. So with the moon, likewise with the moon in Capricorn, it's the controlled moon, the caution moon. It's just the one moon that's insecure, but it keeps defensive. It keeps its defenses up, so it doesn't talk its feelings. So a Cancer moon embellishes and talks about every feeling and everything's taken personally. It's a big dramatic effort, but it's very emotional. To a Capricorn, that's a symbol of weakness, but it's still going to drive to, it's inhibited, but it's going to drive to fix it. I need to have a job, I need to feel secure. So it's going to be ambitious and pushy to get security, but not in the same way as a Cancer or in the Aries or all of these 4 are naturally stressed to each other. But when you have a moon in one of those signs, you're instinctively, you're not going to sit fixed in a home. You're not going to be adjusting. You're going to be trying to make your life your way. You're going to be trying, I need to live this way. I need to do this way. I've got to do this. So the moon is always encouraging you to push your feelings into action, to push it, to make them happen. So these are the ones who push to have their home a certain way. Don't talk, this is my place. It's going to be done this way, or just you'll see this come out. And as you're doing it, you're going to be taking a bit of time. So if you're not, I'm trying to make sure I cover everything. You're just going more and more into the one you have and saying, wow, and working that one you have. Whenever you have trouble understanding one, then you imagine the opposite one, and you start to see, oh yeah, it's more this than that, and you begin to see it. But the key is, I'm looking at the theory and talking about it and projecting the theory out to you. But it's based on my experience, and I'm trying to do it in a way so you can see how to gain your experience and have these confirmed so it can be your wisdom. And you learn from how each person deals with it. Anyone you meet, if you learn their moon sign, you're seeing how they live, and you're increasing your ability to understand their moon. And to understand your own moon accordingly too. So each of the planets in India are considered a yoga. This is the home yoga, the domestic yoga, the yoga of memories. But the idea is, how do you remember the good things? How do you remember God? How do you be involved with your life and your kids and whatever, and still keep the spiritual feelings alive? I mean, you can think, oh, my child's just a little angel, I love them. And the next minute they're the holy devil. And you're like, how on earth can anyone make such a demon? How come I consent to me? And you can be feeling this negative side. It's still your kid, and you're still, the struggle comes to have to still keep the positive and work to build up positive experiences around it.